Well, for anybody in the audience who doesn't know what an interface is, I'm going to give you a wee quick history lesson. I was born on the national side of the Springfield Road interface. I went to school there and I now work there. And during the Troubles in Northern Ireland, out of 1,647 deaths within Belfast, 75% were in North or West Belfast. And the majority of these killings were within 500 metres from an interface. So you can imagine what we were trying to do here in an area so high in deaths, history, fear. And we had two women's groups with trades Mark had worked for, one worked with, over this last 5 years on anti-sectarian, anti-racism. And we had a group of women who had great skills and great services to supply but were unemployed. And according to all the measures on the Noble indicators, this interface is in the top 10 of the most deprived areas in Northern Ireland. It has the highest unemployment, ill health and social problems within that area. So I'm always way ahead of technology, it hasn't caught up with me yet. In October 2011, I received a phone call from a guy who I know who was working backstage on MTV. And he rang and asked me and he says, Ali, do you know a cleaning company? But remember, the idea of a cooperative had already been floating about. We already had been working with the women and we already knew the skills were there. And I says, can you give me an hour? And I put the phone down and I rang 4 members of the women's groups on both sides of the interface. And I says, you want to use your expert skills? Yeah, okay, we're going to be working on MTV. And we set up Queen Clean. And Queen Clean was the first name of the Belfast Cleaning Society. Within an hour, we had a cooperative set up. That's how quick we had the cooperative set up. So a group of the workers from the Falls and the Shangle, we set up the Belfast Cleaning Cooperative. And in August of this year, we got another phone call from Limerick and Ireland and Limerick UK, who were doing Tenants Vital. They heard about the work that we had done on MTV, and they says, would you work at Tenants Vital? Now this was 65,000 people going to a festival, and there were 6 of us in a cooperative. So that was like, oh, hold on a minute. So we brought on 26 other sub-workers who, prior to the actual event, had went through a training session with us on what a cooperative is and the ethos of the cooperative, and they would support us, and also health and safety working out in the environment. That was very, very successful. We had 2 solid weeks of work within Tenants Vital. We cleaned up after the Foo Fighters, we cleaned up after the Stone Roses, Florence and the Machines, and it was a massive learning curve for the cooperative in terms of working together as a team and what way we needed to work. And there's a few photos, some lovely photos of us cleaning up. And that's after we cleaned it, by the way, because it was a real mess. It was a nightmare, you know. We walked at 4 o'clock in the morning in the field and we just went, no way, how are we going to do this? But we did. We worked very well together and we worked. From that Tenants Vital, we actually have a list of people who want to be members of the cooperative, who are brilliant workers, who have the skills. But until we secure enough contracts, that's when we start bringing on more members. But there is people who want to come along and still work with us, sweat equity, and say, look, we will work with you until we run enough contracts. And I need to say that all the workers that came on board during the Tenants Vital and any big gigs, they got paid exactly the same as the founder members. Everybody had exactly the same wage, and any profit was put back into the Belfast Cleaning Society. Okay. We have our brand, which was created and designed by Creative Workers Cooperative, who are also in Belfast, and we also have a contract with them. We clean their offices. So it's cooperative and cooperative supporting one another. It's not all plain sailing. It is hard work. It is hard work the first few years. You hear Bob and you hear Chris and Dennis talking about 30 and 40 years. We're newborn babies. We have only begun, and we have to get all our systems set in place. And it is a struggle, but it's a struggle that we're all working together to complete. Our aim is to get members off benefits and off unemployment and into working in a cooperative, holding their head high and having better working conditions, better living wage. Remember, our goal is to have people have dignity at work, and they're responsible. They're owners, they're workers. It's their responsibility. The future, well, it's our vision and the commitment of all the founder members and new members of the Belfast Cleaning Society to develop a real profitable business within Belfast and to go further afield. And when our model's working, then to bring our model to other areas within Northern Ireland. It is unionised, we're working control, as I said, it's democratic, and the workers pay themselves above the average wage, while we reinvest anything above the wage back into our future and our profits. Thank you.